This video is about the mixed economy. The UK is a classic example of an economy that has a mixed economy. A mixed economy has two sectors, that is the private sector and the public sector. The definition of the public sector is organisations, what I meant to say there was organisations that are in the public sector are owned by the government. Examples in the UK include the National Health Service and schools funded by the government. In the private sector, firms are owned by private individuals or groups of individuals. Examples include sole traders, which is a business owned by one person, partnerships when there's 2 to 20 people that own a business, and then your companies that are owned by shareholders, your private limited companies and your public limited companies. Just bear in mind here that public limited companies are actually in the private sector and not the public sector. Let's just remember here that the objective of the government is to maximise the welfare of its citizens, and the objective of the firm is to maximise profit. So all the organisations in the public sector that are owned by the government, the objective for these organisations is to maximise the welfare of its citizens rather than profit maximisation. Whereas firms in the private sector, their main aim, their objective is to maximise their profit, and it could be argued that they're not really concerned about the objective of the citizens of the country that they sell their product in. Privatisation is when the government sells a public sector organisation to the private sector. The government might do this if they need some more money. So in the past they sold a business called British Telecom into the private sector, and as a result they generated a lot of cash by doing so. It was also argued that BT wasn't really efficiently run by the government, and now that it's in the private sector, the business is a lot more efficient. But by being removed from the public sector into the private sector, the regulation that the government puts in place to prevent competitors is removed. Therefore, this encourages more businesses to join the market. And this could be argued is a good thing for consumers because the more competitors you have, the more they're going to compete in order to gain as many customers as possible. And in order to do so, they will lower their prices, and also it enables more choice for the customer, which is a good thing for the consumer. What impact does privatisation have on workers? Well, in the short run, large quantities of employees are made redundant. This is because whilst in the public sector, the organisation is there to provide a service, and as the objective of the government is to maximise the welfare of its citizens. The government will employ the amount of people they feel is necessary to provide the service or produce the good. However, once the organisation is sold to the private sector, jobs are cut because the objective of the firm is to maximise their profits. Cutting labour costs enables the firm to achieve more profit. However, in the long term, it could be argued that privatisation is good for employees and workers, because when an organisation is privatised, the regulation that the government puts in place to prevent competitors joining the market is removed. Therefore, when an organisation is sold to the private sector, the removal of the regulation, which is called deregulation, encourages more firms to join the industry or the market. As a result, more jobs are created, therefore more workers are required.